Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're gonna talk about sleep interference. Reason for sleep interference here in our targeted individual handbook. This is what the book says. Severe pain, pulsating pain to ears and head and heart and chest region. Severe sleep deprivation, torture, exclamation mark. The mind control attacks work better in theta state levels. So by depriving me of proper sleep, they are able to amplify the effect of the neuroprogramming. Okay, so what is a theta state level of the brain? Let's see. Let's look this up. Theta state level of brain analysis. The next brainwave is theta. Theta activity has a frequency of 3.5 to 7.5 hertz and is classed as slow activity. It is seen in connection with creativity, intuition, daydreaming, and fantasizing, and is a repository for memories, emotions, sensations. Let's see a little bit more information maybe. Theta brainwaves are typically of even greater amplitude and slower frequency. This frequency ranges normally between 5 and 8 cycles per second. A person who has taken the time off from a task and begins to daydream is often in theta brain state. So when you're daydreaming, I guess yeah, when you kind of like daydream, that makes sense. All right, I can see that. Let's see. Theta state levels. So by depriving me of proper sleep, they're able to amplify the effect of neuroprogramming. So yeah, when you are in a theta state level, when you are pretty much like daydreaming, but if let's say you're like daydreaming and there is something right in front of you, like a video of someone getting pounded, I'm using this analogy because I have had this exact experience. So if you're like watching something that has to do with sex, and then you're just zone out, but that video is playing in front of you, your subconscious mind is going to absorb all of this. It's literally going to like take it in. It's gonna pretty much bypass like your defense, your psychological defense that you have. That is why in what are those things called? Those guys, war prisoners. What do you think they have to break them down first before they can actually be manipulated into switching to the other side? This is in the War for the Mind, the Mechanics of Indoctrination book that we're gonna go over after we're done with this one. Super amazing. So that's, well, anyways, that's the reality of any type of indoctrination, of any type of hypnosis, is pretty much to put you in a theta state, in a relaxed level where you are daydreaming, and then things are imposed on you, and it kind of just opens your subconscious mind and absorbs other messages or things that are being imposed onto you. That's what happened when on my last relapse I was pounding this guy, and his friend was like there with her, like his thing out, and he was just like playing with it. So like, and he literally positioned himself in front of me for that same reason. I know this for a fact. Like, I zoned out and he just placed it there, and that's indirect manipulation. The thing is that when I didn't know about it, it worked really well. And that's freaking crazy that there are these tactics to manipulate. Oh, it's freaking cold, to manipulate you like that, But this is why I'm making this channel, so that you know about all these indirect manipulation things. Excuse me. Now, let's see. Interfacing their mind with the mind of the trauma-based mind control victim, attempting to diabolically alter the human soul, will, intellect, and emotion of the victim. So if you're tired because you're sleepy, and you are somehow, or like if you zone out, you do have to be very aware of what's going around you. Like if you are interacting with a lot of people, just be very mindful of your mind. I know it sounds weird. Like, I've been in a lot of orgies, and I actually have a story to tell you about that. About a delusion that I had about an ex manipulating me to become a whore. But there is some truth to that, which is the thing. So all these delusions, there's actually a little bit of truth to a lot of these delusions. Like, they can actually be traced back to something, and we're gonna go over it, how they connect to reality, to us on a spiritual level, psychological level. It's really, really kind of amazing. Now, if you are surrounded by a lot of people, just be very, very careful about the energy that the people have around you. What are their intentions? How do you feel around them? Are how do they feel about it? A lot of times when you're with a lot of people, everyone has their own type of like energy. And after Gangstalking, I have become incredibly sensitive to all of this. So it is really important for you to pretty much be aware of the other people, and stay away from anyone who makes you feel uncomfortable, because they can influence you in ways that you didn't even think, and in ways that are very subtle. Like, this is one thing that I'm gonna. So a lot of people have always told me, oh, you should do porn, but during my last relapse, I made a lot of connections, because like as in like psychologically, because during my last relapse, I was hanging out with this one gang stalker who obviously didn't have any good intentions. So he said the same thing. Oh, you should do porn, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, my morals are too high. Not that or my mom would be really upset. And I saw him getting upset at this, and it's like, so it was just interesting, because a lot of people who might consider my friends also have told me that, but they have been weird. There's just been something off about those people, but I saw the gang stalker. When I said, oh no, my mom would get really upset about it, he got mad. He was like, ugh, like that. And it's like, why would he react like that to me saying no to that? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing porn, but that's not something that I would do. But I feel that anything that goes against your integrity is what they're trying to push. Like, maybe to cause a problem with my mom, or I don't know. Like, doing porn would probably dig me deeper into drugs and into sex and into all of that, which I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to go that route. But then, like, a friend, someone who moved away, just messaged me, oh, you should do porn, just out of the blue, just like that. I'm just like, ew, why? No, I don't want to do anything that just perpetuates perversions or anything like that. Like, I have my own perversions. I think we all do, but they're mine, and I'm trying to stay off those demons. But if you're tired and if you're high and someone keeps suggesting these things, oh, you should do porn, maybe I would have changed my mind. So one thing that happened was that when I was really, 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 really tired, like I haven't been up for days, people kept telling me, oh, do you shoot up? Oh, we should try shooting up sometime. Oh, you should like inject crystal meth. But the thing is that my dad was a heroin addict, and he died from that. And I promised him to never shoot up any type of drugs, because if smoking crystal meth caused all that trouble, I cannot imagine anything else. I cannot imagine what other things would cause something more intense than shooting up. Ugh, like that would be just, I don't know. I would probably never come back from that. And I feel like that was the intention, to get me really tired and then keep suggesting, oh, maybe you should shoot up, you should try it out, it's so intense, you should try it out. So yeah, like literally there was a time where I was staying in a hotel, and literally on all the websites everyone was asking me, oh, you don't shoot up, do you have any needles, do you have any points? And it's like, no, sorry, no, 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 and I just stayed away from anyone who vaguely suggests that. It's so, it's crazy, you know. I thankfully I haven't fallen for everything that the gang stalkers have tried to impose on me, but they have tried to dig me, you know, deeper into drugs in many, 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 many ways, and it's a little, it's frightening, you know, because of all the things that they can actually do to you if you don't have defenses. So, anyways, next. The fabricated and falsified stream of energy they are targeting the victim with contains a carrier frequency specifically tuned to the unique one-of-a-kind brainwave signature of the trauma-based victim mind control victims, and they use the stream to align their cable clones brainwave frequency to the victim's brainwave frequency using a process called alignment to mimic the very own EEG frequency of the victim. This is achieved by way of phase, frequency, and amplitude modulation of me and other victims' wave frequency. So this person actually wrote my instead of me. So I am correcting him of me and other victim brain wave frequencies. So it can feel like there is a part of you that is so again, so this makes sense once you know the science behind how the brain works, that there is a psychological aspect of you that is not directly connected to you, that it's not you. So like you have two personalities, and one personality can be manipulated. It is by your surroundings. So the one personality of you is the one that gets manipulated via implication. Sorry. So, and by that I mean, we already went over this in our last video. If you behave like a mess, who's always having sex, who's using a lot of drugs, who is irresponsible, not going to work, then you're telling yourself subconsciously that you are an irresponsible drug addict who does this and that. Regardless of what made you behave that way, that is, since you're behaving that way, that's what you're gonna start thinking of yourself. Now, it takes a long time for you to adopt this. So you kind of have to. For me, I always have known who I am, and I have always had this defense, but I didn't know what was happening. But once I knew what was happening and how I was being indirectly manipulated to behave this way, I literally just took off all the manipulations and literally just became who I am back again. So this is me again. Finally, you know, and pretty much everything literally they indirectly manipulate your subconscious mind to they build it to tell you who you are, but who you are is what you have been behaving as. So if you're getting gang stalked, your behavior will literally tell your subconscious mind who you are, or the supercomputer, like this person wants to call it. And yeah, so supercomputer, this is kind of right, like the brain frequency of the victim. So there's a point where you do have your own brain frequency, right? Just like your other personality, and the more, so pretty much the more you believe that you are who you are being implied to be by the gang stalkers, then they're gonna be one. And once they're one, that means that you are in alignment. That means that the gang stalking operation was successful. That the implication of what they have been manipulating you to become has pretty much absorbed you. It has absorbed your soul, and then you become that person. And yeah, that's it, and you accept it. But don't accept this. So if you were someone before, if your life was together before any of this shit began happening to you, and then all of a sudden gang stalking happened, and then you became a drug addict, homeless person who just did this and that, un vicioso, a parasite, a selfish, thrill and pleasure, selfish-seeking individual, like what I had become, then yeah, and the moment that you try to escape to be who you are, gang stalkers are gonna try to get access to you, to keep you in that route. It is a long-term game that is trying to destroy you little by little. So a gang stalker told me this on Instagram. He said psychological attacks cannot be evaded and can attack and only cannot be evaded, and they do damage over time. Literally. And that is literally what gang stalking does. It literally is what gang stalking is that you are like, there is an agreement of all these people to do psychological attacks on you, to damage you. You know, that's literally what they're doing. It's literally, and they're trying to damage you in as many ways as possible. You know, they sensitize you, and it's crazy because people who you've known for like tens of years, like I've known my client that I went to train at 5 a.m. I've known her for like 10 years. I gave her the body she has. I have always motivated her, you know. And when I told her that I have been busy, she was almost like defensively, where do you find time to make all these videos, and things like that. When I went there and I had the sickest freaking body I have ever had, she literally went, ah! I'm not kidding. She literally went like that. It's like, bitch, you know, how dare you? So I have, so that's why I'm telling you, people who you believe are your friends do not always have their best intentions for you. And it breaks my heart, you know, because it's true. So you kind of just have to accept the idea that everyone has the potential of being your worst enemy. And it's fucking disgusting. One thing that I have noticed is that people that behave that way, they even though they might have everything, they lack something. This client told me, she was like, I don't know how you're always so sparkly, so full of life, so alive. Literally. Like, bitch, it's because I know how to manage my own psychology. You know, she has like 3 businesses. She's busy. But she just seems so unhappy. Because she's just always working. But I don't know. I feel like she doesn't have any happiness. I don't know. I don't know why she's so miserable. She's just so miserable being herself. And I find that a tragedy. So now, the fabricated and falsified stream of energy they are targeting the victim with contains a carrier frequency specially tuned to the unique one-of-a-kind brainwave signature of the trauma-based mind control victims, and they use that stream to align their Cabal clones' brainwave frequency to the victim's brain frequency, accessing using a process called alignment. Okay, so next. By this way, they can also create a hive mind, allowing them to read and monitor and manipulate the thoughts, memories, and emotions of the victims through 24-hour remote neural monitoring and remote neural manipulation of the victim's mind and soul, will, intellect, and emotion. In other words, the urges and motor cortex actions of the Cabal mind control clone operative were automatically transferred to the TI because they have entertained and mapped my brain. This is how they kill the target, causing the mind control victim, for example, to suddenly jerk the wheel while driving or jerk the gun when trying to pick it up off the table, etc. So this person is pretty much describing an intrusive thought. So to think of pulling a gun trigger when you're holding a gun, or tear, you know, I'm sure you have all had intrusive thoughts when you're like doing something. You know, there's even memes about it. When you're doing something, and then all of a sudden you have a thought of doing something that is completely uncalled for, and it could get you in a lot of trouble. You know. So yeah, that's normal. It's normal, but this person is so in the gang stalking that is attributing these experiences, to some type of machine. The thing is that when you're getting gang stalked, your inner self, you're so disassociated from your inner self that a lot of these thoughts you are going to attribute to gang stalking, because that's just how it feels. Now, the emotions, thoughts, and memories of my handlers can and are transferred to the TI. The trauma-based mind control victim is in split-second speed of light. Energy travels at speed of light. Real-time scenarios and are used on me and millions of other victims, most of whom are unaware they are even targeted with this technology on a daily basis to confuse and disorient the TI. For the technology to work effectively, they need to constantly keep me off and isolated of the rest of society from any and all external interference, because the external interference creates chaos in the neuroprogram. So now this person is going through like the anatomy of like a biochip. So, well, we are done with that part. We are actually on page 50. That's pretty good. And I'm not gonna go about the components of the biochip. So if you're getting gang stalked, you're not being biochipped. No. You're not. And everything here is pretty much, it's the person trying to understand their mind, but because they have this narrative that's being pushed through the internet about gang stalkers having technology, this person is trying to understand what's going in their head using the context of technology. But the truth of the matter is that there's no technology involved. And regardless of how it feels, regardless of what you have been made to believe, the truth is that it's only that gang stalking opens a part of your mind, and it gives you access to a part of your mind that you didn't have access before. And the fact that this part of your mind is so unfamiliar to you, and it's new. If you're an adult, you feel like you know your body, you know your mind. But the truth of the matter is that none of us, we are also busy with work, with studying, with making something of ourselves, or indulging in our vices, that we never really take the time to understand how our mind works. We just take it for granted. So like the first time I was meditating, I literally sat down and closed my eyes, and I was just like in a dark, disorganized mind. And I was just like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? I'm just here with my eyes closed, but I'm not doing anything because I didn't know how to explore my mind. Ways to explore your mind is pretty much like sitting down and enjoying the colors that you see, breathing, and then moving your energy, your consciousness through every single part of your body, hearing your own thoughts, trying to stop them, trying to blank out your mind once you have a thought echoing, and you want to be so now, because of gang stalking, I can hear my thoughts. I don't hear the echoes, but when you are getting gang stalked, you do hear the echoes. And the thing is that it's telling you how your mind works, but we don't really know how to navigate it, which is why we attribute all of this to technology. This is the thing, is that the mind is so insanely advanced, and it is something that it's super hard to understand if you have no guidance. And that's why I'm here, because I have experienced this, and I was able to take up the context of technology and just explore my mind. And why do you think I have all the answers to gang stalking now? Because I was able to explore all these sensations, all these thoughts, all the aspects of my mind that were unfamiliar to me. And now I'm bringing it to you so that you get rid of the perception that gang stalkers have mind control. So the only thing is that they do is that they sensitize you. They really don't know the workings of your mind. They really don't know that. All they do is that they're trying to sensitize you to colors, to whatever it is that will sensitize you. They're constantly looking for new things to sensitize you with. But the reality is that they have no fucking clue how your mind works. So if gang stalking is new to you, they probably know more of the mind than you do, which is why they are able to manipulate you. But watch my videos, and I promise you that the entire gang stalking operation will go futile. And I promise you that you will never be manipulated again by them. The entire gangstalking operation will go to shit. Because now you have a greater understanding of how your mind works and how the gangstalking works. Alright? Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are on our 4th episode of Combat Complacency. We are going to be reading the next part. It's super long. It can be boring. I'm sorry if it's boring, but I feel that as a person who's gone through gang stalking, who's speaking to someone else about gang stalking, we have to cover the description of it from this person, and then I'm gonna tell you my input as someone who has also gone through gang stalking. All right, so here we go. This is what's next. It starts as, it is more difficult for the brain to computer interface and the brain to brain interface to measure the cognitive effect of audio to text from video to text. Okay, so that in itself was a confusing sentence. I'm gonna repeat it. It is more difficult for the brain to computer interface and the brain to brain interface to measure the cognitive effect of audio to text from video to text. What? It's more difficult for the brain to computer interface. It's more difficult for the brain to computer interface and the brain to brain interface, okay, to measure the cognitive effect of audio to text from video to text. Okay, so that is just a confusing sentence and I feel like it adds nothing. So let's move on. They need you to watch rather than listen because of the remote neural monitoring interface is using a screen of the victim's own mind downloaded back to their analog screen. So no, I'm sorry, but this whole paragraph, no. It is saying that I am going to dismiss this because there is no such thing as computer interface. There isn't. All right, this is pretty much the psychosis or the schizophrenia of the person speaking. All right, so no. Next, the combined cognitive effect of listening to audio, not only the combined cognitive effect of listening to audio, not only depatterns their neuroprogramming, but also disrupts the bidirectional speed of light coming, outgoing information, and injection feedback loop, which mind control technology is dependent on. So this person is saying that mind control technology is dependent on incoming and outgoing information injection. Okay, I'm so sorry. This is just, if this makes any sense to you, let me know in the comments. All right, so it makes no sense to me. I'm so sorry. Next, it is not just audio content and the visual. So this is why I don't like to go over this, not because I can't read it, but because there's like, it talks about technology, but I feel like this makes me feel stupid almost. So it is not just the audio content and the visual text. It is not just the audio content and the visual text you're simultaneously reading. So you're hearing things, audio content, and visual text. You're seeing visual text. I only see visual text when I want to. I have never been injected any type of visual text to my mind. But the thoughts and memories you associate with that content that defeats the technology because it creates noise and electromagnetic energy inside the neural networks of the victim's brain. Okay, never mind. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. This is brain jamming their neurotechnology and causing the CIA interface to... No, so all this is saying is that if you have your own thoughts and your own imagination, so I'm gonna just dump it out. So if you are imagining, hearing things, maybe I'm not understanding it. So we're just gonna read it because I don't want to be all silent during the video. It is not just the audio content and the visual text you're simultaneously reading, but the thoughts and memories you associate with that content that defeats the technology, because it creates noise or electromagnetic energy inside the neural networks of the victim's brain, jamming their neurotechnology, and because the CIA DOD interface cannot determine a coherent pattern of thought because of that noise, and thereby make sense of what they are seeing on the screen of the victim's mind. There is no data to integrate. The thoughts and memories you are having is creating additional electromagnetic emissions or spike, evoke potentials on their screen, which confuses the remote neural monitoring and remote neural manipulation system. So pretty much, if you are hearing the things that you hear, the text that you visualize, you're pretty much causing static noise on the receivers and on the system that they read. You are creating noise. So this makes sense. So this makes sense in the fact that it's pretty much saying that if you interrupt any type of anything that you feel like is being input in you, any type of manipulation, any negative thought, that if you're constantly imagining things or sounds, you are creating noise, and the noise is pretty much messing up the signal of the gangstalking. So it's pretty much telling you how to disrupt the manipulation, and it makes sense. So listen how because it is so warped in the technology and the concept of technology, it makes it almost intelligible. But if you just say it like if it was just the mind, you're pretty much saying that any thought that you're having, any negative thought, any thought that has to do with gangstalking, if you just like have visualized text, I understood this when I was going through it. If you visualize text, or if you imagine things or sounds, you are pretty much creating noise or creating disruptions. So therefore, they cannot manipulate you. The manipulation is going to be ineffective. So this makes sense, but just the fact that this person is talking about it from a technological perspective, it makes it really hard to understand. But what it's saying pretty much is that if you imagine text, imagine noise, imagine images, you're disrupting everything that you feel the gangstalkers are imposing on you, which is absolutely correct. It is why I'm telling you have to take a hobby, do something that invokes emotion in you, pleasure, something that will make you feel good about yourself, that literally makes you move forward, something that will make you grow and feel better about yourself, and something that engages your mind. So engaging your mind when you're getting gangstalked on something, be it work or a hobby, is the best thing that you can possibly do, because it will literally just break any type of negative thoughts that you're having because of gangstalking. Moving on, the system's ability to define and map these references intelligibly depends on your cooperation or ignorance, and the attacker's ability to make sense of what they're visually or what they can guess based on your past activity, which they cannot do if they cannot measure and integrate what you see into coherent patterns of thought. Yeah, this makes sense. So let's call the system or injections as like thoughts of gangstalking or connection. Yeah, that's gonna make it easier to understand. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, if you're ignorant or you just allow the negative thoughts to take charge, yeah, you're gonna be completely like programmed, literally. So like if you're ignorant, like I was ignorant of the indirect manipulation, and guess what? Indirect manipulation is not effective now because I am not ignorant of it anymore. Additionally, the negative thoughts that you have, like you're trash whenever I will see trash, if I wouldn't know any better, I would literally just agree but that I'm trash. But I know that I'm not. There's always been something inside of me that says that I'm not. Like I cannot be broken because I've gone through a lot of shit already. So yeah, it's pretty much like this is true. Okay, so pretty much any type of negative thought that you're having that has to do with gangstalking, you want to pretty much mess it up. You want to interrupt it. by pretty much just doing things and imagining things that are pleasant. That's it. Next, the CIA, NSA perps. What did he have to add CIA? Like the NSA perps, that's it. Are using, so the NSA perps are pretty much the inside of you that is not you. You're the other part of your brain that can be programmed. Are using fabricated or falsified stream of data known as the information to interfere with your memory and thought process. So I can relate to this because when I was, trying to do things, I would feel like the tap, I would feel like the yank of my hair. It would be literally an interrupting thoughts. But this is the thing, is that when you're getting gang stalkers interrupt everything. There's gonna be a phase or there was a phase of in the beginning of gang stalking that you're gonna be interrupted a lot. Like everything, like I was at the gym and people would go like that, like for a whole day. Every time I was at the gym, when I was at work, for like days, literally on and on and on and on endlessly. And what this does is that it trains your nervous system, the self of you that can be programmed. Remember, it's an echo chamber, and it will do the same thing to you. Like my nervous system would like tap, make me feel sensations on my foot. It would interrupt me constantly because it's mimicking what you are going through. I guess it's mirror neurons. I don't know, but it does that. So, but for that to happen, there has to be conditioning, and the conditioning is pretty much the most awful part of gang stalking. Now, blah, 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 the information. Okay, so now, energy, bidirectional information and injection feedback loop works. The R&M system also downloads all your thoughts, memories, emotions back into the supercomputer at speed of light. So the supercomputer is your inner self. That's the supercomputer. But this person doesn't know that. Without the information and injection loop working properly, mind control fails. So, listen, your inner self is always absorbing things by implication. For example, if I am always studying, if I am always working, if I'm being responsible, that is going to implicate to my inner self, to my ego, to me, that I am a hardworking, laborious, studious, responsible person, right? However, if I am out there doing drugs, having sex, being a disaster, what am I implicating? I'm implicating that I'm a drug addicted, sex addicted, a mess of a person who is also irresponsible. So what you do is literally what feeds your innermost self what you are. That's what forms your own perception of you, which explains why when I had my worst perception of myself was when I allowed myself to be manipulated and to be a mess. And I thought that of myself because I was a mess. However way tactic was used to get me there is not important right now. What is important is that your behavior is gonna impose what you think of yourself. So the moment you behave like a decent person who works out, who eats properly, who is responsible, who studies, who has projects, who gives money to their parents, then your self-perception is going to change. But you have to be doing this for an extended period of time. Oh, I want a cigarette. Oh, let's see. So, this information and injection feedback loop is achieved by a computer multiplexer which routes the signal or information to a tower, satellite, or mobile platform, such as a van, truck, ship, etc., which then relays the signal or information via continuous fabricated falsified stream of energy waves. There's no such thing. It is pretty much your mind, containing the specific carrier frequency of the victim's brain wave signature to the digital receiver. Your brain is the digital receiver. Similar to how a cell phone call works. There's no such thing as a digital receiver. It is your mind. That is a part of your mind that we do not understand. That is your subconscious, your superconscious, that works by what is fed through your five senses and by your actions. Blah blah to the digital receiver. The digital receiver is tracked and pinpointed at speed of light in real time. Yeah, because it's your mind. However, the digital receiver is not a cell phone. It's a human mind. The brain of the mind control victim has been digitized by way of nanotechnology. It may have been digitized, but not via nanowave technology, via electricity, because that's what your brain uses. It uses a form of electricity to create neurological connections, which goes from one neuron to the other, to the part of your brain that you don't typically use, to the passive part of your brain that is really active, but it's passive because you typically do not have direct access to it, but you have access to it once you experience gangstalking. It gives you access to part of your brain that you didn't know you had. It increases your awareness of self. Once you become dependent, i.e. you believe the impulse directions are your own, on the system's output, or they believe your responses to it are consistent, they will begin to fabricate subconscious responses, which they will pretend are indicators of honesty, dishonesty, positive recognition, anxiety, etc. They will use the impulse injections to convince you that they are fabricated responses are your own. They are your own, but they will feel strange because they are thoughts of yourself that you typically didn't have before. Like my inner voice telling me to stop when I shouldn't. I thought that it was I thought that it was an injected thought because it was so alien to me, but it was actually my own thought. But that was when my conscious mind was taking the shape of the consciousness of the gangstalkers. That's where it starts. It is your mind, and then notice how you begin alienating your own mind from you. You stop having a conversation. You stop having inner conversations because you start talking to this supercomputer. But it's still you. It is only that you're practically manipulated to believe that it is not your own mind. I honestly don't think that gangstalkers really know what actually goes in your mind. Like, they don't know about how the brain works. They just know how to manipulate, but they actually don't know the inner workings. So, but if a gangstalker see this, they're gonna have so much more input on how the brain works. But the thing is that gangstalkers are really limited to the mind, to their own mind. That their pride is kind of blocks everything. It puts a veil. But there's all levels of gangstalkers, all levels of narcissists. So someone might possibly, be able to work this. So any type of new information is always going to be two-sided, where it can be used by people like you and I, or it can be used by those people who are gangstalkers and try to use it against us. But it's fine. We'll see. The thing is that with any type of manipulation, once you know it, it has no effect. And that's why I'm just informing you of all of this stuff. Because once you know the manipulation, you become immune to it. Yeah. Anyways, we're done for this part. On the next one, we're gonna... Oh, well, let's just finish this. If you are unaware of this constant mental manipulation, the system will begin to shape your thoughts and behavior. Indirect manipulation. Yeah, I was unaware of the manipulation, and it would shape my thoughts, and I was 24/7 thinking about sex and drugs, literally. They will use this to attempt to restrict your thoughts and behavior by blocking or interfering your memory and thought process while the suggestions, injected impulses are being provided. The interference is triggered and can be activated at will by the attackers. So the only person that is triggering this is you. Attackers can can trigger it by doing something that reminds you of that. For example, with me, they would blow smoke, like have a vape or a cigarette, and they would just use it in front of me. And that's supposed to pull in the memory of me blowing smoke while smoking crystal meth. Or when I saw a white splunk on someone's shirt, on someone's sweater, and this person literally just like turned their back on me and stopped in front of me and then moved away, like to purposely invoke those thoughts. That is indirect manipulation. When they know something about you and there's the possibility of something bringing up that memory and making you want to do it. For example, logging on Grindr and getting a bunch of messages saying, do you party, do you PNP, and then sending you lots of pictures of dicks, lots of pictures of like cum and videos of porn. Like, that's supposed to have that effect. And they know that. I know they don't know that. Because they're experts at manipulation. Anyways, now we're gonna talk about on the next video on the reason for sleep interference. Okay? Thank you for watching. Bye.